Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. You know, today's question and answer day. And so, you know, I have a little bit of lull in between my planting right now. Everything's planted and growing, and you know, right now it's a good time to do some question and answer. But anyhow, a subscriber asked a really good question. His name is Yellow Groove. He says, I just recently found your great gardening channel and subscribed to you. I have a question on your raised beds. How deep is the soil? Do you buy special raised bed soil, and do you work the native soil down further than the depths of your beds? So that's a really great question. I look forward to answering it. So thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. Let me first say that, you know, you have your greens like your kale, your Swiss chard, your red Russian kale, your lettuce, versus your tomatoes, your cucumbers, your zucchini, your melons. Well, anyhow, the greens, or the leafy greens, you know, they're more of a shallow rooted plant. And you could really get away with maybe 6 inches of soil, you know, as far as planting them in. You know, if you had a raised bed, and you know, even 4 inches of soil you probably could get away with, you know. But I had a friend who grew some tomatoes in a big Tupperware container, and I think he only had about 4 inches of potting soil in there, and he grew tomatoes, and you know, they did well by the end of the season. But anyhow, like your tomatoes and peppers and melons, I would think anywhere from 9 to 12 inches of soil would be adequate. I have harvested some of my broccoli plants, or dug up broccoli plants and tomato plants in the past, just to see how large the root systems were, and they didn't seem to go down that deep, you know. And so is it good to work the native soil down further? I did do that. Here in my beds, I made my raised beds out of 2x10s, the treated lumber, and of course today they're not treated with the arsenic that they used to treat them with, so I think they're safe. But I did end up digging down further into the soil when I built my raised beds, maybe another 3 inches or more, but certainly 12 inches is plenty of soil to plant all your garden vegetables in. And as far as amending your existing native soil, you could always add peat moss to it, or compost, or I end up getting leaves and add leaves into my garden beds at the end of the season, you know, and then the soil microbes will break down all that good organic matter. But yeah, certainly you could even add grass clippings. You know, you just want to make sure there's no herbicides in the grass clippings, but you know, you would want all that stuff really compost down before you would add that to your soil, or at least almost broken down to a point where you could then add that in the fall, and over the winter it'll break down. And so in my gardens, I add my composted leaf mulch that I mend with topsoil. I do have just a big pile of compost over there on the edge of my property, but it's just a one big pile that breaks down over the period of a year or two. I put all my plant scraps from there and my and leaves, and then I'll use some of that compost, just a little bit of it, because I can't generate enough compost on my own. That's why I ended up getting an outside source of my compost from Barnside Farms. There it's a certified weed-free compost, which is nice, and I pay about $30 a yard. Yellow Groove also says here, I haven't had an issue in the past with my garden flooding after torrential rainstorms. The water would just sit there for a day, sometimes even though if it's somewhere flat. This year I built earth boxes. I built my boxes from 2x12 lumber and cut the boards 15 inches and built boxes from them. I'm hoping 12 inches of soil depth is plenty for the 2 better bush plants, and they grow good inside the boxes, which I have 1 plant per box. And yeah, that's the beauty of raised beds, you know, during heavy rains, you know, since your beds are elevated, you know, you get good drainage. You certainly don't want to suffocate, you know, or choke out the oxygen in the soil. But yeah, 12 inches of depth in your earth boxes should be plenty. Your plants should thrive in them. You just want to make sure you keep them well watered, because, you know, anything like a planter or raised beds like I have here, they're going to dry out a little bit faster in the warmer weather. But anyhow, I just love using raised beds. There's, you know, I do the no-till system here, where, you know, years ago I used to have a gas-powered cultivator, you know, but now that I have raised beds, I no longer use a gas-powered tiller, and I just add my compost and use my garden fork to loosen the soil and to help aerate the soil. But anyhow, I hope that answered your question. That was a really good question. And so just want to thank you for joining me today. And if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. You can also visit us at plantsmartliving.com. And there you can learn more about gardening and also how you can reclaim your health by adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Well, anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day today. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.